You're listening to Living in Spain podcasts with David Wright.
Hi, David Wright here, and I just want to give you a little bit of advice about paying deposits on rental properties here. Okay, so yeah, some people in the group are talking about rental deposits and trying to get the deposits back. Now, I just want to give you my little bit of advice on this. I've bought and sold many properties here, and some years ago when I first moved here, I did rent a couple of properties and had some good and some bad experiences. So this is some tips that might help you. So yeah, on one of the properties when I first moved here, I paid 420 euros rent. I believe it was more or less 420 euros on a very nice 2-bedroom apartment here, which I rented for 6 months. Now, I extended that rent. It was through an agent, a Spanish agent here, and I met the Spanish family. It was a husband and wife, an elderly Spanish couple, all very nice, all seemed very good. And after 6 months or so, we decided to increase the rental agreement, and I wanted to go another 3 or 4 months, I think it was, about just under a year in total, about 10 months or so. And they happily agreed on that, carried on paying, and not a problem. Then we found a property we wanted to buy, and it was just under a year or so we wanted to move out. So I said to them, spoke to the agent and said, we found a property, we're moving out next month, so we're giving you a month's notice in advance, we want to move out. What do we do about the deposit? And he said, just need to make sure the property is nice and clean, and we come and inspect it, and then after we've finished the agreement, you come into the office and get your deposit back. Brilliant. Everything was great. Everyone was all nice and friendly. So I spent the weekend with my wife cleaning the apartment. It was immaculate. We'd bought a microwave and an iron and a kettle, things like that, which we didn't want. It wouldn't go with the new property. So we decided that we'd leave that in the old property as a sort of a thank you, And so I phoned the agent up and I said, can you come around and check the property? It's all nice and clean. No worries. He said, we don't need to do that. I said, I would really like you to come and have a look. We insisted, and he turned up one afternoon, walked around the property and said, yeah, it's lovely, it's immaculate, thank you very much, and come in the next couple of days to the office, you can have your deposit back. So anyway, about 2 or 3 days later, we went into the office. And he said that when we walked into the office, we sat down at a table, and he said that there was a problem, that we couldn't have our deposit back because the owners had decided that the property was so dirty that they needed to get proper cleaners in, and the cleaners cleaned the apartment, and the price for that was 420 euros, exactly what our deposit was. So we looked at him and we said, this is not true, this is a complete lie. Only 3 days ago you had saw the property with your own eyes and you saw that it was clean. There's no way that they got in within 3 days of us handing the keys back. To apartment had to be cleaned by professional cleaners, and it just so happens that it was exactly the same amount of money as their deposit. He looked at us, he shrugged his shoulders and said, what can I do? So I said, well, this is not on. I'm going to take legal advice. I went to my solicitor here at the time. I told him about it. He said this is something that happens a lot at the time back then, and it still happens now as well, apparently. So, and he said we could take them to a small claims court here. He said, but to be honest, I wouldn't bother. It will take months, even years when you go there. It will be very difficult to find a solution to this, and they only need to get a friend or family member to write out a fictitious receipt for that amount of money, and it's your word against theirs, and the judge probably wouldn't waste his time on it. So he said, if I was you, just put it down to experience and leave it. So yeah, that was a very bad taste in our mouth on that one. We did do a lot to the people to make it comfortable for them. We added extra things. We looked after the property, and it was immaculate when we left. So yeah, if your deposit is under 500 euros, then really just bite the bullet and forget about it. So yeah, that's my advice. It's one of those things you just need to be very careful. I would say get the owners of the apartment with the estate agents, come with you the day before you give them the keys back, and walk around. And I would say have your telephone in your hand to record the conversation discreetly. Just record the conversation and just say to them, you're happy with everything? And they say yeah, and make sure you get them on your phone recording them saying yes, they're happy with it. You don't need to tell them. You don't have to worry about recording them privately. You can just say, oh, the phone was on, I was taking some video or something like that, walking around the property. Have it in your hand so you've got them recorded saying that they are happy with the clean of the apartment. So you've got someone come back later on. That's what I would do anyway. So hope that's helped, and good luck.
If you have enjoyed this podcast by David Wright, then you will love his new books. Out now on Amazon and Kindle, packed with money-saving tips and information on living and working in Spain. Just go to livinginspainbooks.com. David also has a popular blog for expats in Spain. Come and take a look now at britishexpatsinspain.com.